All right, well, it's just now 2 o'clock. My name is Megan Dale. For those of you that don't know me, I am a Hub liaison here, as well as Claire Sturm is on the call as well. We are going to be going over collections today. How we typically run these webinars is it's very casual, laid back. We just ask the questions we ask through chat, and then we'll kind of have a conversation that way at the end. But we kind of trade off the mics back and forth. So I'll talk a little, Claire will talk a little. We'll be sharing both of our screens here in just a few moments, so you can actually see us doing this while it's going on. Again, I'd like to welcome everybody. This is about collections. Hopefully, we're going to get a lot of your questions answered today, and if we don't, feel free, even after the call, send us an email. And I'm also going to refer everyone to documentation a lot too on Hubzero. If you go to hubzero.org /collections, /documentation, go to Hub Users and then Collections. You can even have that up while we're on the call here today, just in case that you want to follow along. Or you might see a question there that we don't cover that might spark an interest. So I'm going to turn it over to Claire right now, and she's just going to kind of tell you a story, kind of walk you through maybe why some of our hubs use collections, maybe why it might be right for you. So I will turn it over to Claire.
Thanks, Megan. So like Megan said, my name is Claire Sturm. I am a hub liaison. We are going to dive into how collections was developed and the idea behind it originally. So right now I have STEMEd Hub pulled up right now. They were the original hub to actually request this feature to be designed. They are an education-based hub, STEM education primarily, but they work with teachers in the local area throughout Indiana, and they also work with educators broadly in general. They requested this feature to be developed because they mainly wanted something like Pinterest, which is, to be fair, a very fun and interactive feature that Pinterest has going on. So what we tried to do was come up with our own original feature that allows users to primarily share and save documents, links, etc. With their community. So this is a tool or feature that was developed primarily for sharing, building a community, building ideas, curating ideas, so that everyone is open and we kind of get to know each other a little bit more and develop a hub a bit more as well. So just to showcase a little bit what they have going on. So just this is standard what collections looks like. It's always you have to be a logged in user in order to share collections and actually interact with this feature. But you notice that these are individual collections. They have it set up right now on their hub where they have their own menu item that you can navigate to collections because it is such a big feature for them. So simply by clicking collections, you are automatically brought to the main page for collections, which details a little bit of information, which is a very smart use case, for it allows the individual who might be new to collections to be able to see some documentation before actually interacting with anything that is currently published. So by clicking on Collections tab, you'll be able to see all the collections that are currently published, that users have shared, that are public, basically inviting everyone to go and take a deeper look into what they have put into their collection. Posts also allows you to view all the posts that are available. This is basically a mass breakdown of everything that has been published publicly. So again, it's a great way for sharing ideas, curating content. So if this, for their use case, was a way to share information, maybe content for their curriculum, books that they might want to start investigating into. I know that sometimes we will have groups of teachers on STEM Ed Hub come together, and they are doing this for a course, but it's all opportunities for them to co-collaborate, work together, share ideas that they might not be able to share on any of the other features on the Hub. So, moving forward, I'm going to give it back to Megan so then she can kind of dive into what we can actually do with collections. So actually looking at how you actually create a collection, how you edit, change, manage, and then I'll come back in later so that we can do a slight demo on kind of collaborating together.
Okay. Can everyone see my screen? You should be looking at documentation and a whole bunch of stuff about collections. Just let Claire know through chat if you can't, and we'll adjust the setting.
I don't see it.
You don't see my screen?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
All right, all good now.
Sorry about that. So I referenced documentation a second ago, and a lot of the information is going to be here, but sometimes we understand that it's nice to see it actually demoed live. So what we're going to look at is hubzero.org documentation, and you're going to go to Hub Users and Collections. Here's kind of where anything and everything you want to know about that is going to live. So everything we talk about today, that's kind of where you can go to for reference. As far as the collection tabs that you will see here, you can see that collections is just on my dashboard, or I'm sorry, under my menu is right here. So the idea, like Claire said, it's very, very Pinteresty, very user-friendly, simple way to collaborate and come together as a community. And we realize that this might not be for everyone, so don't feel like you have to use this and groups and courses. This is just one more tool that we put in your toolbox that you can either have turned on or turned off. And if it's right for you, you know it's right for you. And if not, you know, it's not like we're going to take it personal if you don't use collections. It's just an option that we put out there for you guys. So I'm going to talk about how a little bit about these. So recent posts are going to be anything that the user follows, such as a collection or another user. You can also follow users, and we'll get into that later. But anything that a user posts, a new post, it's going to appear in this recent post tab. The next tab you see is collections, and that's where all the collections that have been created by the user, that's where they're going to be stored. And then posts right next to it, that's where the posts from every collection are going to be stored. Followers and following, this is going to indicate how many users I am following, and then the following is going to be how many users are following me. So I'm not very popular with my posts, as you can see, or I haven't found anybody that I think is worthwhile to follow. But the following and the followers are more going to fall under the line of collaboration and how you can use this with other users, and that's what Claire is going to be touching on. So what we want to do right now is, you might be asking, or again, if you're familiar with Pinterest, you kind of already know, but what's the difference between a post and a collection? A post, it's a singular piece of content, right? So if you picture the collection as a filing cabinet or a drawer, the collection is going to be that filing cabinet, and then the posts are going to be each individual file that goes into that file folder itself. So when we go here, I have 3 collections that I have in my collections. Favorites is one that I think everyone should have set up as default. You can feel free to change that as you like. But my 2 collections that I've set up are food and music, 2 of my big passions. So if you look at this as, like I said, the file cabinet, this in general is the file cabinet. This is going to be my file folder. So I have a file folder of music. And then within there, these are all the posts I have. So anytime I see something about jazz or pop or country, this is where I'm going to file that within that collection of music. Same with food. I have a food collection, And within that, I have collected savory recipes and sweet recipes. So you can at any time edit or delete. So that's simply by if you just hover over it. So food, let's say I want to change the name of that to something a little more playful, Yum Yums. And then you can see right there, it updated the title. Same thing, if you hit delete, it's going to ask you, it's going to give you that warning message, which I always do appreciate because sometimes I click buttons too fast. It's going to give you that, are you sure you really want to delete that? Because if you do, it's important to know that all of the posts within there will also be deleted.
Yep, that's correct. And it's also that if anyone has collected that too, you run the possibility that it will be stripped out of their own account. So one thing to note, because users can actually follow a collection, and if you delete that collection, then they'll no longer have that archived in their own personal content. Kind of collateral damage.
Yeah. Another fun thing, and there's not really a whole lot to elaborate on this other than you can edit, you can delete. I can add as many posts in here as I want to. Now, this is similar if you are familiar with, your computer, you log in and you can view files by pictures, or you can view files in a list form. That capability also exists within collections. However, if I want to see my posts in list format, okay, so let's say my Yum Yums, right? I want to edit that, and instead of seeing all the posts in grid form, I want to see those in list form. Okay, so I'm just going to change that to the layout of my posts and hit save. Now it's important to remember, I get hung up on this a lot. I can't do that directly from the post tab. I have to manage my posts from the collection. Okay, so now if you go into Yum Yums, you can see that now it's list form and not grid form.
And this plays into how so if you go back, if you do a sorted mechanism, so if you want your collection to be sorted in a way where it's not just by date. So if Megan clicks on Yum Yums again, just the title, and then right now it's set up by the timestamp that she has submitted them. But if we actually do end up, if you can see the upper right hand column, there are a few buttons that will actually help manage that. But if she clicks the 1 to 9 arrow, so it's sorting by arrangement, you have to be in list form in order to sort by a defined order. So in order to do that, if she has it right now defined as sort by a defined order, she'll see these little up and down arrow markers, and so she can click, drag, and drop it to rearrange. And again, you can only do this if you're in list format, so it's very important to keep in mind.
So what I just did was add another post from here, and then I can go and click the 1 to 9, and if drinks, I want that to be first. Again, I can reorder that however I would like. One thing to note too about posts, when creating a new post, I can drop files in here. So let's say that I have recipe cards that I have scanned, things like that. I can add to click that file within here, and I'm also in the collection of Yum Yums, so I always know where I'm at. I can also tag things, which again is just going to be easier for me to search. And then here I can click to add a link. So if I want to, Food Network, for example, let's say I want to add that link. I just click here and it's going to allow me to type in the URL that I want and associate that with that post. And as far as managing, that's pretty much all there is to it. You can sort, you can rearrange, you can edit your titles as you saw, you can delete. So let's say drinks, I'm gonna make it its own post. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and delete that one. And then again, you can see that now I'm back down to, I'm gonna refresh my screen. And I'm doing this on purpose for teaching. There we go. So I must have hit the wrong button. So then I've just got the sweet and savory again. So as far as that, it's about as simple as that. I'm going to turn it back over to Claire now, and she's going to kind of go over how does this tie into, what Hubzero is all about, managing those communities and collaborating with others. So she's going to touch on the collaboration portion of collections. Okay, and you can share your screen.
All right. Ah, just in time. Okay, so I am currently logged in, of course. I do not have any recent posts, but I have a few collections of my own. I have several posts of my own, and then I am following one individual. So if I actually go and find Megan, so just going to members, I'm going to search for her because I'm going to be a stalker that way. Haha, I found you, Megan. Beware. So I see her collections, and I see both of them appear. From another user's perspective, you only see collections, posts, who their followers are, and who they're following. So if I am interested in Megan's Yum Yums because her title alone is enticing enough for me, I can collect this. When I collect a collection, it's going to ask me which collection I would like to store it in from my own personal collections. So, and it also will populate too, forgot to mention, any group collections that I'm currently a part of. So any of my groups that I'm a manager of or a member of will populate here. So let's say I am working for a food discovery foodie group, and I find that this collection would be great to share with that community. There's a way for me to publish that into that group. But for now, I'm going to throw it in my Greece group because Greece food is amazing to me, and or Greek, haha. And I'm going to store it there. On top of that, if I don't like the fact that I don't have any collections already pre-set up, you can create a collection by just typing in a title here, and it would automatically populate a collection with the previous collection, Megan's Yum Yums collection, automatically inside of it. And you would also want to add a description. So I'm going to go ahead and remove that so it doesn't do both. Save. And I will go back, but if you notice, if I don't hover over, you see one repost. So it will also calculate how many times a collection has been collected, so reposted. So that's one thing to keep in mind. I can also collect individual posts. I can like them as well if I don't necessarily want to collect them. I can comment and say, this is great. And I can be anonymous if I'm too shy enough to actually post it under my name. The nice factor of this being a grayed out screen is you kind of remain in this area without having another pop-up window open. Just click close to exit out of that. Moving forward, going back to your collections, in order to gain followers and see who's following you, I can either say follow to individual collections, or if I just really enjoyed Megan's content so much and I'm curious to see what she might post in the future, I would suggest clicking follow all, because that allows you to be updated again with that recent activity feed, to be told what's going on, what's happening, what new content has she posted. So it's something to keep in mind. So I'm going to jump back to mine now and see my own collections. See, my recent posts have all been Megan's because I followed all. So it said that recently I checked out these posts because I clicked follow all, and it's not the collections, it's the post. So just because I clicked follow all inside of the collections, it broke it down here into recent posts for me. I see that it's still liked over here. And check it all out. So moving forward, going into my grease, and I see Megan's Yum Yums. So it looks like a post inside of my collection, but it's actually a collection itself. Very complicated and get confusing very quickly, but hopefully that is now clear to everyone how that all works. There's one other thing I wanted to point out real fast, and we'll see if we can actually jump to one that will work out well. Check out this guy. Maybe not here. Might not be turned on for this hub. So what I was going to try to demonstrate, which might work here. See if anyone's done it before. But the moral of this sad adventure that kind of got us nowhere here, but one of the things I wanted to point out is that in some of our templates, we have it automatically populated if you have the module turned on. It's the collect module, and it allows you to populate the collect button on different different pages of the site. So if you want users to have the ability to collect publications, you can have that implemented, or resources. I believe it's implemented on resources, but that's one of the options too. So it's not necessarily you have to grab the link to collect that page. It's right there on the hub. Makes more sense if it is just a button on the hub versus actually making people work harder. So work smarter, not harder. Alrighty, jumping into a use case now. Nano Hub, one of our oldest hubs, right? These guys have been around for a long time, and they have figured out how to use collections for their community, which is tool-based. So you wouldn't think that a tool-based community that looks at publications and resources and tools before they really check out collections or any really interactive tools, that they actually are using this, but it's very popular. As you can see, they have over 500 posts, public posts on their entire site, and 228 collections. Just after noticing what they have done so far, it seems that a lot of their users have been using collections to actually grab different tools that they're interested in. Now, NanoHub works a lot with students, grad students, faculty members, and individuals in the industry. So it's very surprising to see such a great turnout, but it's positive. It's all positive. And you can, noticing just by the fact that they are actually collecting tools, it's a way of them bookmarking different tools that they find fascinating. They might want to go revisit for possibly helping with research or anything along those lines. So this is a use case that might work for you. It's or your community, your hub's community. It's just something that that you'd want to consider and maybe even communicate to your group. Again, how would you get to collections? They had it set up so that if you go under Explore, it's the first thing under Explore. So that's very positive as well because they've given their users a quick link to jump to this. Especially if I'm a new user and I'm kind of checking out the site for the first time, if I want to explore the site, which is prompting enough as a word, it's right there. It's the first thing I'm going to click, and this allows a new user to actually start jumping into what is NanoHub, what are people doing here, what is pretty significant that I should pay attention to. So top posts significantly that have been recent. I can say that, oh, well, if so-and-so has already posted this as something to benchmark, then maybe I should go check it out. So building that interactive community, this is a great resource. We prompt everyone to at least check it out, see if it works for you.